Hi, this is Judith Reedy at the Creative Zone, and I am back today, and continued working on the landscape painting. And I'll also show you I think that today they're dry. Let me just get something here. Oh, sorry to disappear on you. Anyway, I think they're dry. And so I think tomorrow, I don't know if any more today, but tomorrow I'm going to start working and recording doing the last layer of the grisaille where I have white and burnt umber. I haven't made a decision if I'm going to use white and burnt umber or white and black. I could do either, and I think it would work. But I will do it on all three of these canvases, and that's kind of what my next process is right over here, what I'm going to be working on. But what I have been working on is this painting behind me. Maybe I can show it to you, and it's not done yet, and that's what you're going to see today. I'm feeling still pretty wet. See, here it is. It's kind of wet. I better not touch it. I just got myself all sticky. Anyway, oh boy. So, just a little excited about doing this. You know, you have to wait with the technique that I'm doing with the grisaille. If I'm going to do a traditional Flemish or grisaille, then I have to wait and let the layers dry in between. And so that takes a couple days. I didn't want to use a lot of solvent, but I didn't want to use hardly any oil either. So anyway, we're going to get back into that. I think tomorrow I'm going to be recording that, and then I'll show it to you on Thursday or whenever the next time is that I'm going to be here. But I have been working on those two projects, and I know that those of you who have been following along, you know you've been following along. Maybe you've caught me and started following me. But I want to urge you, those of you who found me or just kind of regularly look me up, follow and like me. If you find me on YouTube, please start subscribing, and you'll get all of my demos and demonstrations. And if you find me on Facebook, either at Visual Artist or the Creative Zone, then I want you to follow me, and so you can catch all of the videos and all of the presentations I'm doing. So today I want to explain a little bit about that painting I just showed you, and talk to you about the process. I started with an image. It was actually, you can see in the upper right corner, this was an earlier painting. It's not this painting. It was the same storm, winter storm, and it was pretty intense time of year. And I got another image here of in my home area where the snow was just everywhere. And so I first have to work with the whole idea of it being just the idea, and then I turned it to grayscale, and that's part of my design process. And then I had to simplify it, which I'm going to be showing you in the next couple of slides how I simplified it. And then I'm going to show you the painting process. And it's not done yet, so but I'd say it's about 3/4 of the way done. But I just needed to get away from it, and so this process is wet into wet more than the other one is definitely not wet into wet. So I think you're going to find this to be really interesting. So painting process. I want to, I think the first thing we had, I'm going to remove this and I'm going to remove this. And okay, first of all, I started with a kind of a light version, and I started working, you know, just playing around with the colors a little. You can see that I had, that was one, and then I had this one, and let's see if I can undo this one. I think this was one that I had. Yeah, so I had pretty many, and then I wanted to do the I decided I wanted to lighten it a little bit. So I put this veil on it just to get that lighter look. But I really didn't stick with it, but I was just playing with the big shapes and the values and seeing how I could divide up the space into simpler shapes. But now I'm going to show you how I painted. And this was like several hours, and parts of this that I'm going to be showing you was sped up like 20 times, and some was only 2 times, and some was like 4 times or 8 times. So it's going to be sometimes fast, sometimes slow, because I didn't really think you wanted to sit there for 3 hours and watch me. So here we go. We're going to start here. First of all, I started with having this grayscale and laying out my colors. And obviously right now you can't see the colors, but they are suddenly going to appear. And so I used that blue, and this was a cerulean blue, and I mixed it with the titanium white to make all sorts of tints of, but then when I wanted to neutralize it, I added some of the Cad Red Light, sometimes the Mars Black, sometimes some ultramarine blue. I mixed the black with the yellow and a little bit of the blue to create green, and then I made tints. I made tints of the yellow. I made a tint of the Cad Red with the white, and then I mixed those two, yellow and the tint, to make kind of a peach. And those were the colors I kind of thought that I was going to be using. And you can see, though, this scale is not my 10-step scale. It's only a 5-step scale. And I really like using the 10-step scale. I thought I would try this, but I really like using the 10-step scale. So anyways, here I have a piece of glass on my canvas, and so I'm laying it on the colors just to get a feeling. I don't do this, I'm doing this for you guys more, to see how I experiment with the values, rather than, I don't do this all the time. And there I'm, you know, mixing some grays and tans to just see if I get the correct value, and I'm varying what I have. I'm just going to try some different things and see if I get colors close to what I'm interested in. And when I get them to what I want, I'll probably just put the canvas aside. I'll have the mixtures I want, and I'll be ready to go. That's much. I originally wanted a little lighter, but I'm actually going to end up making it darker in the end. So, but you can see I have all those colors mixed, and it's pretty ready to go. So I'm moving the glass away, put it back in color, and we're going to start putting in the sky color, which is the cerulean blue and variations on cerulean blue, with tints, and then a little bit maybe of ultramarine occasionally added, maybe a little bit of yellow. but it's not a solid color. It has a lot of variations to it. And so that's what I'm kind of working with right now. And I'm just laying it in very loosely so that you can see, I can just get a feel for what's going on and what I should be doing. Putting in some of the big shapes and remembering that I still want to put some of those twigs and branches in. Oh, okay. So anyway, you can see that I have the different colors, and I'm kind of excited about it. Now I'm going to be using a little bit more of this cerulean with maybe a little green added, or yellow rather added, that makes it, bends it more towards the greenish color. But I still have that blue from the sky, and I'm really decided to make those evergreens pretty dark. And I use in that not just, here I have some of the greens that were mixed with the black and the yellow that I had, and I add a little bit of blue to that. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of the cad red, so I have that variation in the trees. Now in here I'm using that the blue as the basis, but I might be moving it around a little bit by adding yellow, by adding a little bit of the red to make it, bend it towards, warm it up with like almost like a purple. And then I'm working in that foreground to get the some of the unshaded areas, and that I'm using kind of a mustardy yellow. And I'm trying to get the shapes of the I'm going to see if I can see this here. And I'm sort of developing the, now sometimes when I'm painting this, I'm thinking I'm putting the undercolor in, and then over that, like with the green I just put in, that's going to be hidden by the time I'm done. But I wanted it to peek through. So we've got that going, and I'm really working on some of the variations of that in the foreground of the snowbanks that are really in shade. And I may in the end up simplifying them a little bit, or making them more similar in value to keep that shape together. But I wanted to initially put in that because it is in the foreground. But as I'm doing this, I'm thinking that I really want to change the focus from the sides into the middle area where the man is, so I may end up changing that in the end. But I'm really now working in the area behind those trees and sort of trying to develop it. It's a tricky area because I kind of like that texture feeling that you get with the branches on the tree. But I don't want to lose the shape. So it's, and now I'm putting in the branches, which are eventually going to get covered up largely with snow, but I wanted them, put them in so that they could be snuck in from behind. And then I'm going to start putting in some of those branches. Now, there seems to be the values of the branches are those that are in the front and then those behind. And those behind are in shade, and so they're almost in some cases they're blue-gray, in other cases they're a yellow greenish gray, but then in front of them is a warmish, somewhat warmish white. It's not a pure white, it's a warmish white. It's a funny thing, you want to make it, render it somewhat accurately, but you don't want to be a slave to what you're looking at here. But you want to give it a sense of that kind of lacy quality. With this type of method, you really want the stroke of the paint to come through. It's very different than the grisaille that I'm doing with the portraits. I'm very much into the energy of the brush and the stroke, much more so than in the grisaille that I'll be doing. But I am building in layers, colors of layers and spots of color. I'm putting it in kind of and then over that I'll put the white, because you see I put the behind color. Eventually, I think I'm going to change, get rid of some of the white and make the separations a little clearer, which I just did. Pretty cool. And I'm just sort of building that up. I have a mixture of whitish yellow, pinkish yellow, and and that deep background, I can't have everything very textured, but I will attempt to have some things. And I may end up making that area a little And now that I'm looking at that, I think I'm going to reduce the size of that area in the back a little bit. And I think he's way too big. And the car's too small. Yeah, I like that. Put that blue back in there. The next part I'm going to be working on, which I didn't start, is really that road down there. I'm kind of just putting in a little bit and suggesting it. I might make the guy a little smaller in the end, but we'll see. I still might make him smaller. So that's pretty much how I think it turned out. I'm really pleased with how it worked out. And that's a little bit of a close-up. Not the whole thing, but just a little bit. Kind of gives you an idea of how loosely this is painted. And it's not quite ready yet, but this is how we start. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. Hi! So there it went. We did it. I showed you what I got done. And so I'm still working a little bit. I want to work on the tree a little bit more. And that man, I think he needs to be a little smaller. And I want to work into going into that road, down that road, because I need to develop that, because I really think that should be, that whole thing, that area should be the focus. And I may reduce a little bit of the contrast of different shapes on the right bank. I like it better on the left bank. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I think I'm going to, though next, I'm going to work on a layer with the portraits that I showed you earlier. That's what I'll be doing and showing you on the next session. And then we'll come back to this, because this is going to have to dry, and then I'll finish this other painting. So it'll all work out. And this is much wetter, this painting, than this is painted so thin that it dries. So I think if you really like to know more about landscape painting and creating form, I think you'd like this course, Intermediate Color Principles. Check on the links below and check out that. And those of you who are in my Color Foundations course, I want you to know that I've added another unit, and that unit is on mixing hues, colors, changing the colors to match the values of a paint of a flower. And so you're going to end up with these plus many more flowers in that unit. And for those of you who just think, I don't really know that much about mixing color, I have a wonderful quick course for you that, excuse me, that will be a great foundation for you. It's going to have a warm and cool of each of the three primaries. I'll explain why I have a warm and cool, how to mix them with certain secondaries so that you get glowing secondaries and reduced or muted secondaries, how you can also alter all the colors with tints, tones, and shades, plus complements, and how you create color vibration with color. Neighboring colors and contrasting colors, depending where you place them. And so I think you'll find this course to be a great foundation, and it'll get you set to mix all kinds of colors and to be able to really understand, you know, why when I tried to mix this color, I got something I really didn't expect, and why you can have more control of your color mixing. So I think you'll like this. And you get all of that. You can watch it anytime on your laptop, your phone, whatever. And the link below about for the intermediate color principles. And of course, come back again on